Hello, Gunner James 105. So a couple days ago, I stopped in at my local antique store, and you got to stop in every once in a while because he goes to sales, estate sales, and whatever, and purchases things to stock up his store. And so you never know from one week to the next when something new might show up. So I pop in once in a while, and it was not long ago that I had popped in, and he had 5 or 6 different helmets. The one I was interested in, I brought home and featured in my one of my latest videos on military finds. And so this same store had this hanging, but he's kind of got a little section where he has his military items, and this was over in the tool area. So he's got a lot of antique tools. And so it was just hanging there, and I looked at it and I wasn't sure because it's not something I've ever looked for. It's not something I really had any study on. So it's hanging there, and he's got a really low price on it because he thinks or believes that it's a carpenter's belt. Whether it's to hold nails or what, I have no idea. I recognize it as definitely being a military belt, or as it turns out, bandolier. And then I made the deal, brought it home, and started researching. And there's not a lot of information. And as a matter of fact, in YouTube land, this is the only belt like this. There is a 5 pouch listed, and that was another variation, which I believe came before this one, because this is a British design, and so was the other. It was a 5 pocket. It was basically the same as this. And it was a 50 round, so it had the 5. You'd have 10 in each, 10 rounds of 303 in each one of these pouches. So this is what they call, or what is designated as, and built. The design was a 1903 pattern bandolier, and so the British, as I say, designed this, and of course with a lot of the Commonwealth countries using the same sort of things a lot of times as Britain, we adopted our version, and this is actually manufactured in Canada. I think there was a couple of different makers at least. I've seen one labeled Montreal, and I think it was older. It might have been closer to the First World War. This particular one, it's very faint, but just right in here is the information we're looking for. Try not to knock the camera over. So just right here we have very faint Hugh Carson Company Limited, and then I've got Ottawa 1928. And then the other thing that was very interesting, because this is something you might miss, but if you're now it's kind of hard to see the C, but there is one right there. Some of the grain, it almost makes it like a complete circle, but there is an opening here. So there's a C broad arrow, which is the Canadian military acceptance mark back then. And as you can see, I've just stuck in a couple of the charger clips with ammunition just to show you how this works. And so basically you've got where you would have your back section, and this just happens to be some 1940 stuff, and it's actually Dominion Arms Canada, so this is Canadian 303, but it's 1940. And then you've got this second latch, so the first latch goes on that same brass stud, and then the second one, and so 10 in each one of these pouches. Now what makes this one different again is the fact that it'd be worn this way, over your left shoulder with the 5 pockets in front, and then at the back we've got 4 of these pouches, and then a rather interesting buckle affair. So this one here is adjusted for a small person. It's pretty much to its closest you can buckle it, I believe. Well, maybe there's, I'm not sure, they've twisted this around under here. It could go a little tighter, I suppose, but it's something I can't fit anyways in this configuration. But yeah, the curve of the the curve of this piece here is meant to go on the left shoulder. And what they initially had on these, the 1903 and the 5 pouch, it showed up on some of these. It wasn't really correct though. I think they made some changes, but there was what they called a brace, or a leather strap that would come down and attach to your belt. They called it a steadying strap. And so these, with the ones with the 5, simply 5, and then nothing across the back, would be used for cavalry or non-cavalry soldiers, whereas this one was strictly for the mounted infantry or cavalry. And the reason is that with those 4 on the back, your mounted troops wouldn't normally be wearing a backpack and whatever other equipment on their back that would interfere. And by removing that steadying strap, as they called it, that would go here down to the belt, you could, when these were empty, you could rotate that around rather easily and bring your 4 pouches to the front. And then so that's how that worked for the cavalry soldier, the mounted soldier. So incredible find, in incredible condition. I mean, it's in beautiful condition. As I say, it's a 1928, and its markings are really nice. I'll tell you what he was asking was $35, and I'm going to tell you that I paid close to half that. So anyways, that was the deal we made on this Carpenter's nail pouch. And that's about all information I have on this for you today. Thanks for watching.